Hey, I'm Blake.
And I'm Dave.
And we're back for another weekly movie stream.
We're here. We did it.
It's a big one, Dave.
Yes, it's Barbenheimer.
It's the movie event of the summer, and you boys
The year.
saw it. I would argue year so far. Absolutely.
Year for sure. Mm-hmm.
I agree. And we saw it. You're looking good over there. I changed my background here, and so I look a little green up top, but for the Barbie theme. So
Yeah. Yes. Barbie's pink, but that's fine. We'll go past it.
I tried my best, Dave.
Yes, I got home too close to stream to put in my smart bulbs that aren't as smart as you'd like to change them to pink.
Yeah.
So I apologize.
You biffed it.
I have failed us. I biffed it.
You biffed it. I found this in my fridge because I was like, I'm not going to drink tonight. But I was like, I got a sparkling water in here that's been in here for who knows how long. It's a cucumber mint, and it tastes like shit.
I was going to say.
It's really gross. But, whatever. I'm doing my best. But yes, Dave, how's your week been, man?
It's been good.
Yeah.
I had a surprise.
What's that?
A surprise gift from a local.
Oh, no.
In
What?
the area. Mm-hmm.
What
a
happened?
naked homeless guy javelined a 2x4 through my window in my bedroom.
Dude, I want to play the video on stream. This is insanity. I don't think I can. I might.
Why not?
I don't know. I guess I can. Let me try to pull this up. But explain a little bit of context to this. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So here's the context, right? So my apartment complex. It's just one building. I don't want to keep saying complex. My apartment building, we are, I'm not doing anything to help. They are redoing the roof. Not like, the shingles. Like they tore off the roof and put a new one on. They're also doing something with the front fascia or whatever the hell.
Right.
And so every morning at like 8 a.m., I get woken up. And I sleep in later because I go to bed later because I work to 11 to 8 or something. Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So every morning at 8 a.m., I get woken up. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is so annoying. I can't get solid sleep. I end up falling back asleep, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, this one morning, I hear this loud shattering noise. And I'm woken up and I literally wake up midway through me going, what the fuck? And so I'm thinking to myself, these fucking workers dropped something major. And then, because I hear one of them yelling, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, these bastards. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to care in this situation. I'm going to ask for their manager, like half naked. I'm going to do it.
Should.
And so, I'm not playing this up at all. I promise. I pull off my eye mask and I'm like, okay, I'm going to whip open these curtains that I just put in yesterday or the day before. These sound deadening blackout curtains. I'm going to pull them open.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. There's light shining through. That doesn't happen. And then as my eyes kind of adjust, there's glass everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck? They dropped something into my window. These bastards. And so I kind of, tiptoe around the glass that's all over my floor, on my bed, around my dresser, behind my dresser, in front of my dresser. I'm like,
wait, it shot out. It got onto your bed?
Yeah.
That's a distance.
Yeah, a little bit of glass got onto my bed, yeah. And I'm like, God damn it. So I peek my head out of the hole that's now in my window, and there's no workers. I'm like, oh. Wait. I pull my head back in. I'm like, wait, I heard yelling. Was it? Must have been a homeless guy. Had to have been a homeless guy. Mm-hmm. That's the only answer I could think of. This is ridiculous. So I immediately call my landlord at 6 a.m. and because that's what time it was, I realized. And he, hey, Wendy.
Hey, Wendy, who's on a plane to L.A. right now.
God dang, we'll see you in a bit. Telling my naked homeless guy story. And long story short, my landlord sent me a video of this homeless man, this transient, who was butt-ass naked. Yeah. If you have the video ready, let's just let the video speak.
I do have the video ready, so I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play the video.
Play the video.
It's low quality.
It's very low quality security video.
Yeah.
Of what happened to me. Just the other day.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's great.
That's not what I meant to do. Here we go. And there's no audio, so you can
Yes.
I'm gonna talk about with this.
Here he is. He's just coming over from across the street. He's not on a crosswalk. He's just there, and he's like, "Hey, I need to do something."
That is not a robe.
I'm gonna look and yeet off my fucking clothes. He's butt ass naked. He goes over, picks up 2x4, and javelins that motherfucker into my window.
Yep.
And the only thing that stopped it. And wait, here. He's just
turns into a ghost.
Anyway. Ghost.
I love this guy. I mean, sorry about your window, but this is how I want to live my life.
Bro, like literally the only thing that stopped that 2x4 from flying straight onto my head in my sleep was those curtains.
Because God for blackout curtains.
You can see they literally stopped the piece of wood and forced it back out because it kind of caught it and threw it back out.
Dude, that when you sent me that video, I was like, no fucking way. And I only felt comfortable playing that video because it's so low quality. He's naked. He's very naked, but you can't see anything.
Fully naked.
Yeah, and I mean, welcome back to Los Angeles, dude. Glad you're here. And
hell away.
Next time that happens, it will be me. And I will be very naked. I might be covered in peanut butter. No
that's
guarantees.
Not even the first time that's happened to you, so whatever.
It was honey last time, but yeah. Yeah, it's true. But exciting things are happening for you, Dave.
Yes,
we're losing
very exciting
we're losing viewers rapidly.
They don't want to hear about my naked transient story.
I do. It was great. But short of that, things have been a little crazy. We got Wendy, our chat MVP, coming into town. Her and her boyfriend Brian are coming. They're staying down the street from me here, and we're gonna hang out this week. Yeah, it's gonna be a blast, dude. I can't wait.
Awesome.
So much fun. So looking forward to that. But short of that, we have a new podcast episode that came out today.
We did, yes. It was for your birthday from earlier this month.
Yes.
And it's Nick Cage action movies.
Yes, we talked about Face Off from 1997. Yes. And The Rock from 1996. Two classics that I would say I love, but I love a little less now.
Yeah, it made me feel very stupid.
Yeah, very stupid. I still love The Rock. To be clear, I do. I think it's a great movie. Face Off is a different story, but it's a fun time. So yeah, download it now on anywhere you get your podcasts.
Yes, you can still get it on Stitcher, because Stitcher doesn't go away for another month.
Okay, when is that thing getting axed?
August 29th is when Stitcher, the platform, goes away.
Okay, okay, bye. Sorry,
great.
Stitcher listeners. Nobody cares about you.
Listen, as a Stitcher listener, I can tell you, true.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder why. I would think something like Stitcher would have gotten bought, but yeah. See, sorry, I know Wendy's chat is delayed since she's on a plane. But
she's flying in a tube in the sky.
Yeah. So this is to be clear. I know you love The Rock, Dwayne the Alcatraz Johnson, but I guess you can also like the movie The Rock and okay, there it is. I'm glad you're watching. She said she loves the movie too.
Oh yeah, believe me, I made that joke once or twice in the episode, Wendy. So.
It's true. Yeah. Hey, Wendy, you should download that episode. It'll get you through your flight.
It's true. Yeah, a lot better. Get to hear us yapping away, even though you're hearing that right now. It's more
structured.
Structured. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Out here doing our best. But short of that, Dave, if you want to hop in, we do have some movie news. Lots of stuff going on this week.
Lots of stuff. Lots of Barbenheimer centered stuff.
For sure. Well, actually, if you wouldn't mind, I can hop into the first bit of movie news, which is Dwayne the Alcatraz Johnson centered. So it's all thematically relevant.
Okay.
Yeah. You know how we've talked a number of times on this stream how Dwayne Johnson's been kind of falling out of favor. He's going the way of the Ellen,
A little bit, yes.
So Now, he's done a real good guy thing, though, and I have to give praise where praise is due. He just donated upwards of 7 figures to the SAG-AFTRA Relief Fund.
Oh, fuck yes. All right.
Which is...
Back in my good graces.
That's a good move, man, because, people want to be up in here complaining about, well, and what actors, what do they want more money for? I was like, okay, that's 1% of the actors, or probably less, of actual SAG members that make millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. Lots of working people who are actors, believe it or not.
Yes.
And so this relief fund will be dispersed to members who are in need. There's commercial actors, there's tons of people so that need help and need taken care of, and same with the writers. So good for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to stand up and donate some money, putting his money where his mouth is, and we need more of that. More.
Fantastic.
Please.
And I am, I'm really impressed by that, because they are going to be struggling, because the studios are going to do whatever they can to not help.
Yes.
Which is funny, because I believe you sent me some more movie news in that same vein about the studio A24.
Yes.
Who has been allowed by the unions to continue producing content because they are following what the unions want.
Hey, what? Well, look at that, Dave. Look at that. It's just like you act in good conscience, and you work with people, and then everybody gets what they want. Wow.
Yes.
No, that's good.
So,
I feel like A24 is obviously not only makes great films, but they do so. They're very creator centric. I've talked about this before. I saw a roundtable with some of the Oscar nominated and Indie Spirit Award nominated directors, and the woman who directed Bodies, I forget her last name. It's Helena, but she was talking about working with A24, and she turned in a cut. And they were like, hey, we have a couple ideas and thoughts, but here they are. Do them if you want. If not, if this is the movie you want to put out, this is what we're going to put out. And I'm like, do it.
What?
Yes,
I'm sorry,
it's insane.
A studio giving creative license to the creators?
Who would have fucking thought? Wow. It's insane, because this isn't unheard of. Like this happened a long time ago, with when studios were just giving tons of money to creators, and a couple of those creators, Michael Cimino, looking at you, bankrupted an entire studio.
Hilarious.
So yeah, it's nice to see A24 working for the artists and working with the artists and the unions and stuff. That's good, and we get good film out of it. So I encourage this. Yeah.
I as well. And just to really prove our point here that studios are evil and stupid, Netflix has added millions of subscribers and a huge rise in profit after this whole password sharing crackdown, and yet they can't afford to pay their actors and writers correctly.
Weird. That's so weird, Dave. It's like forcing your viewers to give you more money. They do, and you're still like, we could use more yachts, though, still. More yachts and caviar, please.
A bigger yacht. Not even just anymore.
Bigger yacht.
Just a bigger one.
We're looking for a Jeff Bezos yacht. Like, once we all have Jeff Bezos yachts, then we'll be happy and stop raising our prices.
I just want a city with a propeller.
Yeah, and once our city with a propeller, once our writers, once we can force them all to live in one house and pay them in Taco Bell burritos, then we'll be happy and we'll be able to get what we want, which is again more yachts, please.
Because we're the important ones.
It's true.
Yeah, the ones who don't do anything. We don't do anything to really help with anybody doing anything. We're just like, sure. And what do you even do? Honestly, I want to meet some of these people. Like, what was your job?
Huh?
What was it? I'm sorry. I'm having trouble understanding. What do you do?
I did the thing, with the stuff and the.
No, I don't get it.
Have you seen my Lamborghinis? Have you seen my sky yacht? Have you seen?
No, I didn't ask about your cars. What do you do? Is it for Netflix? You are the So what does that entail?
Shut up and enjoy your bean burrito, okay? I am Netflix.
but also in a rare form of change. And that then they changed their mind because there's so much backlash. AMC has now canceled plans to charge more money for their prime seating in theaters.
Yes, I saw this. I saw somebody like posting screenshots of like, it was like the fuck dot dot dot, and it's like shows the preferred seating. I was like, oh no, it's coming. I don't think it ever got rolled out nationwide because so many people just talk shit about it, and I guarantee. Only people are only buying seats around the outside and the front, and then guess what? You're losing even more money because people aren't going to go to the screenings, and people aren't going to pay more to sit in the middle seats. That's insane, dude. That's insane.
But I'm glad, and it's good that they're like, oh, just kidding.
A little self-awareness is nice these days.
Yeah, you would think.
You don't see it often enough, but hopefully it catches on. I have no high hopes for this, though. Let's be honest. It won't. So who knows? We'll see. Because again, that's why they invented like those those movie theaters that are like a little more gimmicky. They have like the rumble seats and like the fog. If people want to pay ticket prices are already insane. I try to go see movies in like the middle of the day with everybody else's grandpas, so I only have to pay like $10 or $12. But if you go on like a Friday or Saturday night, it's like upwards like $18-$20, man. It adds up.
It's especially if like you get into a movie that's like popular, you have to worry about that kind of stuff. I actually had an experience today when I went and saw Barbie. Was that the movie was, I guess, sold out, or at least the good seats were sold out. The seats that weren't like this.
Oh, yeah.
Those seats were sold out, and I had picked a seat that was one empty. It was like row, one empty, me, and then the rest of the seats.
Okay.
And this couple comes up, and the woman goes across, and she's like, "Am I here?" And he says, "I'm like."
Ew.
And then he goes, he's like, "I'm so sorry. Can I sit?" I was like, "Yes." I'm like, let's switch. Fucking no, that's weird. But the funny thing is that like it didn't look sold out. So like until like the trailers were almost over, until everybody finally piled in. Yeah. So I'm thinking like, did you guys do this on purpose? Did you pick one seat on the side of somebody else just to fuck with them?
They're like passing popcorn. They're holding hands across you. Just oh, that's so funny. Yeah, we're gonna get into our theater experiences for Oppenheimer and Barbie here, but yeah, I do want to know if you shushed anybody, Dave.
I did not have to. There was children in this one, and obviously it's Barbie, and
myself included.
Yeah, yes, Blake was there, and he was the child, and I shushed him. No, no, there was a little girl, and she was saying stuff, but like, you could tell she was saying stuff in the loud parts, and then it would cut to quiet, and she'd be like, and then she would like whisper, and that's okay. That's okay to me. Like, she knows. She's trying. She wasn't succeeding, but she was trying, and now that's fine.
Yeah,
there was a little kid that was like, "I've seen this part." Like, shh.
Dave's like, violence immediately.
Yep, that's how I do it.
That's how Dave rolls. I don't care if you're 3. I will end you. Not in my Barbie movie.
Nope, absolutely not. I'm not having that.
There's a very cute moment in my theater too, where at towards the end of the movie, it was kind of quiet, and there was a Barbie monologue, and it ends, and this little girl goes, "I love you, Barbie," and literally the entire theater goes, "Aww." It was adorable.
That's cute.
I loved it. I was on board for that.
Yeah, that's cute.
But yes, I don't remember where this started, but it ended very cute.
Yes. We started with me yelling at children, and you had to bring up why they're cute, so thanks.
Yeah. I am a barren wasteland myself. I have no children unless you count Steve, who's... I don't even know where Steve is.
It's the third time you've lost him today, Blake.
Bro, Steve is all over the place. I don't know. Maybe he's playing in my laundry. Probably. But anything else you got for movie news?
Oh, I got plenty.
Oh, hit me, dude.
So here's one you're going to love.
Okay.
Saw 10 is coming out. The release date has gotten an update because it was Halloween.
Okay.
I'm assuming this year, and it's the 10th installment in the mainline Saw franchise. Taco Bell is returned as John Kramer. Sorry, Tobin Bell, aka Jigsaw.
He did get paid in bean burritos for this performance, but that was in his contract.
Yes, but now it's September 29th.
How many? What? Who asked for this?
Embrace it.
When was the last time a Saw movie did well?
I don't know.
I'm sure they've all made money. But like, man, remember what was that movie called with Chris Rock? Was it called Spiral or something? It was like oh geez, dude. I'm telling you. Ursula. I just don't understand. And whatever, if people like this stuff, that's fine. You can like it. I'm just curious as what more can you add to the story of Saw, of the lore, because it's so weird and twisted and like not in a fun way, in a confusing way, that like I don't care. I would never see this. Just for the fact that, again, like Marvel movies and things, I'd have to do so much fucking homework, and I don't care. I don't care enough.
It's true. I have seen a couple of the Saw movies, and after a while, it was like, now I'm just watching people being torn apart.
And
can I say the rest of them?
Yeah, torn apart, and this person backstabbed this person, who's working for that guy, who pulled off a mask one time and did this, and now they're this, and actually, if we go back to the beginning, they were there all along, and it's like, stop it. This is very... It reminds me of it's like Halloween. It's like the Halloween movies. It's like the timeline's so confusing. And the Terminator movies, all these timelines are so confusing that I can't bring myself to care anymore.
It's true. I have to grab a beverage because I realized I haven't had caffeine today. So
get a little headache. Okay. Yes. Well, guess what? Chat. It's just me and you guys. So here's the deal. I'm going to talk about a little bit of movie news, and then I'll see if Dave can catch up and understand what I'm talking about. Hopefully not, but we'll see. So the next thing, damn it, you were quick. In the box. You were so quick. I didn't even get to my movie news.
Huh?
You were so quick. I was gonna play a game where I was gonna start talking about movie news, and then by the time you get back, see if you know what I was talking about. Well,
I said already, so
fuck.
Mission accomplished.
Well, anyway, did you hear they're pushing back? They might be pushing back the release date of Dune to 2024, which I get because of the strike, which I agree with on that premise. But I also want Dune, and I want to see it in the biggest theater possible.
Yes, I kind of do want to go see this one in theaters with you because
we're seeing it in IMAX.
When we're here.
Yeah, we're going to see it in IMAX for sure.
Sure, why not? I don't care.
Because I want to. And you're beholden to my wants and needs.
Yeah.
This is a very equal relationship, Dave.
Someone help me.
No, don't say that. You consented to this.
Unfortunately. Anyway.
But how do you feel about that? Do you think there's going to be more films pushing back the release dates and stuff because of the strikes?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. They have to.
Yeah.
Because some of them aren't even finished. Some of them are... It's going to have to happen.
Yeah.
Some of them are being deeply, deeply affected.
Yeah.
So, there's not really a whole lot you can do. And honestly, I think that the studios are going to feel a little bit emboldened by the fact that just before the strike, or technically just after the writer's strike, the two biggest movies of the year had record-breaking openings. Separately, and then you combine them, it's even fucking more intense.
Oh, dude. And actually, this brings up a great question I wanted to get your opinion on.
Sure.
Somebody asked me too, hey, by going to see Barbie and Oppenheimer, are you crossing picket lines? And I was like, that's a fantastic question because from what I understand, what I believe, no, because you're supporting a film that has already people had their contracts already in place, like it's been made, it's done and dusted. You're technically, yes, giving money to studios by seeing these movies, but by not seeing them, you're also depriving the people who worked really hard on it and had their contracts in place before this stuff happened of their due. You know, because I want to support Greta Gerwig and, you know, Noah Baumbach and all the people involved in Barbie. I want to support Christopher Nolan and everybody involved in, you know, the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people involved in both films. So I understand that. But my question for you is how this progresses once we get deeper into this year. You know, films will have been completed without the unions. And they are trying very fucking hard to do that. A24 films, you can go see because those have been signed off on by the unions. I will not see things until if they're being completed during this time and taking advantage of actors or other things outside of the unions.
So you won't see anything A24?
No, I will because they have the sign off from the unions. But other stuff, I don't think I can, in good conscience, see.
No, and I probably won't either until the strike goes on, which is going to make our job very hard, but that's fine.
Part of the gig, man.
Part of the gig. Fine by me.
Yep.
I'm not about to not support my fellow creatives in terms of these, in favor of these money-grubbing dickheads.
Exactly, and that allows us to be a little more creative in our own right, too. It'll push us a little more, and you guys, the viewers who we love and appreciate you, we're always open to suggestions on things as well, too. So if you want to hear us talk about something, or if you've seen something and you want us to see it, let us know, because we're gonna start running into those things here in the next couple months, I think. So it's gonna be an interesting rest of the year for film, to be perfectly honest. You know?
Yeah, and speaking of dickheads in film, PETA has accused Gladiator 2 of animal abuse.
Oh, really? I haven't heard this.
Yes, so the animal rights group has claims to have received whistleblower reports about mistreatment of horses and primates on the movie's set, and the organization has sent letters to both Scott and Pascal urging that live animals no longer be used.
Okay.
So, which is, listen, I'm sorry. I am absolutely for the ethical treatment of animals, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And I quite literally cannot believe or even get on board with anything PETA says ever, no matter what the point is.
Yeah.
Because they are the number one killer of dogs.
I know. I find myself in that predicament too. I'm like, I don't really like or trust PETA, but I'm also very against the poor treatment of animals, even on film sets and stuff. It's like, no, there's no reason to do any of that stuff. So hey, stop being dicks, Ridley Scott, and people.
It's like you we're all staying in a room and PETA stands up and they say something. You're like, shut up, dick. Also, can you not do that, though, please?
Also, I kind of agree with them. I don't like them that much, but, they have a point. Oh, see, thanks for showing up, First Prize Games, giving us that insight into nothing we really wanted to hear.
Definitely don't want to hear that. I don't care. It scares me, and
I know the story behind this comment, and I don't want to talk about it because it makes me sad. So, thanks, Jordan.
Oh no,
that's really fucked
up. Source close to the production recently refuted PETA's claims, telling the Times that a certified representative for the American Humane Society has been present on set for all animal activities, and there have not been any animal injuries or incidents.
Well, I don't know who to believe. But I guess there's no real, I don't know, unless there's proof or pictures or something like that, then I don't know, I can't say. But you should treat your animals better. How about that?
Catch me outside. How about that?
I'm just saying, it's like not that hard. You're Gladiator 2, it's not like a little indie film where they're scraping for funds. It's a fucking Ridley Scott movie. You have the money.
It's true.
Treat your animals right. Get Russell Crowe to treat your animals right. I know he's not in the movie, but...
Oh, yeah, that'll make him happy for sure.
Hey, Russell Crowe, why are they fucking up these animals on this movie you're not in? Answer that.
I don't,
As the motorcyclist driving past your window.
Yeah. Anyway. Something that you might enjoy. Okay. Piece of movie news here. You remember the guy who played Sandman in the Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi version? And he reprised his role in this sort of one?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Never mind.
Just being honest. No,
Thomas Hayden Church played Sandman.
I know the actor.
3. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I see it now. Okay, yeah.
And apparently, Thomas Hayden Church is hearing buzz that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4 may potentially be in the works with Sam Raimi.
Oh, I'm on board for that.
And that's the thing, they can pull it off now because the MCU has introduced the multiverse. So now we have an explanation for different Spider-Men, obviously in Spider-Man No Way Home. Sure. And now we can explore these things if we want to.
Listen, justify it however you want. I want a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire.
Mm-hmm.
Icky, thanks, my friend.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
Always
appreciate it.
Nice to have you here. We love you and we appreciate you. And actually, you have been actively involved in this stream in terms of seeing some of these movies with us. So.
Yes. Yes. He went and saw Oppenheimer with me. It was the second time seeing it. Mm-hmm. And we were supposed to go see Barbie together, but he ended up not being able to go when I needed to. So, unfortunately, hasn't seen that with me. But yes,
next time.
Hickey is MVP.
And also, First Prize Games, I am very pro old people superheroes. We've talked about this before. Give me the retirement home version of all these characters. Yes. Do they all go to the same...
Although that would be really funny if they're no longer heroes, but they still have their powers.
Yeah, and they all, since they're all, superheroes, they all go in the same retirement home.
Yes, it's the superhero retirement home.
Yeah.
And, okay, is there like a version of dementia, but for your powers?
It's fucking dark.
Like, Cyclops from the X-Men, he shoots the lasers out of his eyes. But one day they stop and he's just like, oh, I guess my powers are gone. And he's in the nursing home as like a former, and all of a sudden just, he's like, ah!
You know what? It's not too bright in here. I can take off my sunglasses.
Oh my God. Or like
it's the second time this week. That's dark as shit.
Dude, can you just or like the Flash is no longer, he's obviously not fast anymore, but he's got power dementia. So he's just like walking down the hall, he's shuffling down the hall, and all of a sudden he just shoots the other side of the hall and smacks into the wall.
Now that we're talking this out, this entire retirement home would be leveled within hours. Casualties, just bodies piling up.
My God. It would be Bubba Hotep.
We have to talk about Bubba Hotep very soon. We need to revisit this film. We need to have a movie night with Bubba Hotep because I love that movie and I love Bruce Campbell, and that's exactly where my brain goes talking about this stuff.
I have a special place for Bubba Hotep in my heart because that was one of the first movies that I remember being there for like the movie nights at our old friend's house.
Yep.
And that's where like our friendship like truly started. You and I. It's
true. Bonded through Bubba Hotep.
It's true. Bubba Hotep bonded.
Thank you.
Bubba Hotep bondage. That's not what I meant.
No. Jesus, no. Thanks, Bruce Campbell, but stay out of our bedroom.
Get out of here.
Well, what else we got for movie news?
There's a video game that I like to play, that I started to play. I don't have it anymore because it's for my PlayStation 4, and I have PS5, and I don't think it's backwards compatible, but it's called Death Stranding.
Okay.
Now, let me see. I just want to make sure I get the premise behind the game correct.
I think I remember the commercials for this game.
So I do, because it's Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus. Okay, yeah.
So it is. Let me find the plot, because it's an action game. Blah blah blah. It's the gameplay. Where's the plot at? Oh, plot.
Isn't there something with like a little baby?
So, freelance courier Sam Bridges, aka Norman Reedus, he transports cargo to the city, but he's interrupted by timefall and takes shelter. He receives assistance from Fragile. I don't know who that is. And he arrives at his destination, where a citizen has committed suicide with the corpse on the verge of necrosis. And due to being both repatriate and having dooms, Sam is given an emergency assignment to accompany the disposal team to incinerate to dispose of the corpse. However, he encounters a lot of these stranding things. So basically, it's like these ghosts that when they get a hold of you, they fucking kill you.
Okay.
Anyway, that is all being brought up because there is a Death Stranding movie that is in development.
You know what's interesting? I don't really know much about the game. I just kind of remember those commercials, and the commercials looked like a movie set. I thought the movie. That's why I remember these commercials, because they look like a movie trailer. And it seems like an interesting premise for a film, like a very theatrical kind of idea. Which, yeah, cool.
It's going to be a horror movie for sure. I wonder if they'll actually cast Norman Reedus. It would be kind of stupid of them not to.
Yeah, like who else would they cast?
He's literally the face, like literally just put him in the movie.
Short of casting like Pedro Pascal or like Nick Cage or something, I think people would not be happy about a recasting.
I don't think, because people fucking love Norman Reedus, myself included.
Yeah,
and they would riot, you know. I do think.
Love it.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what this is. The Death Stranding is about. And the apocalypse has come in the form of weird spirits that come up in the form of like dark stranding material.
It's like that fucking Kevin Costner film. What is it called? It was called like The Postman, where he's like a delivery, like a postman in the post-apocalypse. It's really bad.
I have not heard of that.
You should look this up. We should watch The Postman. It's crazy. It's Kevin Costner, and you know how much Kevin Costner loves Kevin Costner. So
of course,
fill in the blanks. It's bad.
Yeah. Speaking of bad, a Watchmen remake is in development.
I saw that. My first question is why. It's been 15 years since the 14. Okay, which not that long, but also we have the TV series Watchmen, which is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. I'm not super into the lore necessarily, but I started watching that show during the pandemic, and I was like, I was obsessed with that show. And so I would be very interested to see what they do plot-wise with a new Watchmen film. Did they say it is like a reboot, or is it like
it's a remake
sequel, or is a remake?
It's just a remake.
Why? Not that the original was like great. I think it was kind of a slog, but there's interesting things to it. I don't know. Make it not as long and make it more interesting, and I'm on board.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't care. I've never got, and not to say that I wouldn't watch it. I really don't care. I've never got into it. Of course, pizzas is more money. Of course, it's more money. That's all
true.
I care
Yeah,
about.
People are going to see it and it will make money. I'm not going to lie to you. Again, for somebody who's not necessarily into like comic books or like comic book superhero movie stuff, I think the lore and a lot of the characters in Watchmen, even like the original, are very interesting. I feel like there's a lot to them.
Okay.
So yeah. I'm interested.
I mean, sure. I mean, when you make me go see it, then I'll watch it. That's fine.
Sounds good.
But a few pieces left of movie news here.
Yeah. Blue dongs for life.
And now I'm getting to some more. I'm gonna ignore that. And just some more relevant Barbenheimer news. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Starting our segue. Okay. Yeah, I like it.
Segue a little bit here.
Subtle.
First of which, I have a few. First of which, the Mattel CEO has responded to Will Ferrell's portrayal of him, and I'm not giving anything away here. It's fucking Will Ferrell. He plays him goofily. So
yeah, think of Will Ferrell, and that's how it's done.
That's how it's played. And he's like, basically, he's like, we appreciate it. We take ourselves very seriously. We just don't take ourselves too seriously.
Okay.
So they enjoyed it.
Okay. Well, I mean, they enjoyed it as if they didn't sign off on every single aspect of this film.
Right. And I forget who it was. I think it was John Cryer of 2.5 Men fame said, it's amazing that WB did not ruin this film. Like, they either weren't paying attention enough and were asleep at the wheel, or something happened, because they did not ruin this film.
Yeah. It's amazing because with my limited contact and work in the film industry, the things it takes, the amount of effort and people and stuff agreeing and seeing a somewhat of a common vision, the fact that any movies get made is nothing short of a fucking miracle. Like, it is insane how hard it is to actually get a film done, especially one with a very specific creative vision, such as Barbie. So I agree with that sentiment. It's amazing this got made and put out.
I'm telling you.
Truly.
Speaking of amazing, Oppenheimer. The box office opening for Oppenheimer is bigger than Inception and Interstellar and all but 2 Christopher Nolan movies, and both of those were Batman movies.
Hot damn.
Yes.
Good. Man, it's good. Like, obviously people are like, Barbie's doing so much better. It's like, well, yeah, it's Barbie. Of course. But yeah, it's still tracking like way, way, way better than they initially thought too, which is great.
I was going to say, Oppenheimer is absolutely crushing it right now. And yet it's still getting absolutely dog walked by Barbie. And Barbie has shattered records with its opening weekend gross. It is now the biggest opening ever for a non-superhero movie, sequel, or remake.
Wait, ever?
Ever.
No way. That's amazing.
Yes,
dude.
The opening weekend
Right on.
projected with a gross of 155 to 160 million.
Wow. That's incredible. That's incredible numbers, dude. I'm just saying.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and pizzas, I saw both of these movies in packed theaters, and can confirm Barbie does not have sex in it.
Yes, they do talk about their genitals, or lack thereof, actually.
Yeah.
Twice, and it was fucking hilarious both times.
Both times, yeah. No, for sure.
Absolutely hilarious.
Well, if you're ready, I would like to kind of start to segue into these movies.
One last thing before we do.
Okay.
It's talk about about Barbie the movie. It's doing so well that an analyst says that it could offset all of the losses for WB that The Flash incurred.
That is hilarious.
Isn't that really fucking funny? God damn it.
That's really
amazing.
Good. That's so funny. I quite enjoy that. So I guess then, yes, getting into these movies proper. This is a big weekend. It's Monday now. It still feels like the weekend. But was a big weekend for film, and these 2 movies. This has been hyped up forever. We've been talking about this forever. I don't know actually the budget on
145
Barbie.
million.
Oh, okay. So it made its budget more, but I also heard that the marketing was 150 million alone for Barbie.
Sure, but that means like they've already made over 300 million internationally. So
oh yeah, I wasn't worried about that movie making its money back.
They're gonna fight. Some people think they're gonna join the billion club.
I believe it. I would believe it.
100%.
Yeah,
and we'll get into it.
Yeah. So we've been talking about this matchup for a while. You know, we've been talking about Oppenheimer for a while, and then I think Barbie then announced its release date, and it was the same. And it's this whole thing. Christopher Nolan's been on board. Everybody seems to be on board on both camps, because these are 2 very different films, but
very different.
I double featured the shit out of it. And I had said on an earlier stream that I was like, well, I hate myself and I want to be sad all the time. So I'm going to see Barbie first, and then I'm going to end the night with Oppenheimer. I did it separate. I did it different, swapped rather.
Yeah, so did I.
So obviously Christopher Nolan is known for making movies on film and loving the film format, which I appreciate him for. I took the chance to see this in 70 millimeter, a film screening of it, which is very cool. I really, really enjoyed it. I saw it in a theater I'd never been to before as well. I did not get to see it in 70 millimeter IMAX, which is, I think when I see it again, I definitely am going to go see it. Hey, Club One. Yeah, see it on film if you can. But I'm going to try to go see it at TCL 70 millimeter IMAX, because it's one of 30 theaters in this country that can screen in that format, which is like the ultimate format to see it in. It's the way it was shot. It's a big ass screen, and they've been flying in projectionists from around the country to put together these film screenings and project them themselves. So it's a big deal, man. It's an event, and I'm really glad I got to see it that way. But even still, I saw there's still, like, I saw, there's that extra little bit of grain and stuff, and see it in 70 millimeter is great. I already saw, like, there's some dust on the print.
Yeah.
in a couple scenes. So yeah,
I would really like to go see it in 70 millimeter. So, and it looks like Icky would like to join us. So
yeah,
let's set that up for a couple of weeks from now. That'd be great.
Let's do it. I'm fully on board. So, hey, listen, if any of you guys watching are in the LA area, pizzas, take a plane. We're gonna go see Oppenheimer in 70 millimeter IMAX. Yes. It's gonna be freaking great, man.
So good.
But yeah, man, this has been a long time coming, and I'm very excited. In what order did you see these movies?
I saw it Oppenheimer. I did not see Barbenheimer. I saw Oppenheimer.
Okay, you saw it the same way I did too.
Yes.
And I gotta say, I'm glad I saw it in that order, because Oppenheimer is pretty heavy. It's a great film. I really enjoyed it, not to bury the lead, but we are getting into it. So if you're ready, we can hop into the trailer of we can op into the trailer of Oppenheimer.
Into it.
Oppenheimer this up as best we can. So here's that. I'm gonna swap over the sound. So Dave, you're gonna be a little doubled here for a second.
Fuck.
Sorry. It's not gonna stop me though. So here we go. do it.
Chloe, I'm sorry. I literally thought that earlier. We'll get into it.
Oh, yes. Also, did you know that there's no, like, digital effect shots in Oppenheimer? They're all practical.
We imagine a future.
But the shaking of the walls.
All practical.
And our imaginings horrify us.
Yeah. Christopher Nolan cares.
Wow.
Right?
They won't fear it until they understand it.
I want to see this movie again so bad.
Yeah.
I want to see both of these movies again so bad.
Yes.
Until they've used it.
Literally just watching this trailer is giving me goosebumps.
Theory will take you only so far. I don't know if we can be trusted.
Yeah, I wish I could go tomorrow, Vicky. Wendy's in town tonight.
But we have no choice.
Bruh.
Is anyone?
I haven't even seen that many trailers for this. I've avoided as much marketing for both these movies as humanly possible. So it is interesting watching these trailers now with retrospect.
About what's happening here.
So epic. I think this is a great trailer because it's not too much. It's not it's just a little taster
Yeah.
of what we got. So Dave, if you wouldn't mind telling us the story of Oppenheimer as succinctly as humanly possible, if you can.
Yes. I want you to take my echo off.
Oh. There we go.
Okay,
Thank you.
So as succinctly as possible, Oppenheimer is the story of the father of the nuclear bomb, J. Robert Oppenheimer. It basically just follows his story from his POV because it was written in the first person by Christopher Nolan, which is something he's never done.
Yeah.
So everything, while being a biopic about J. Robert Oppenheimer, is kind of skewed in his POV.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. What I would add to that being, this is the story of multiple parts of his life. Yes. This isn't a spoiler, but arranged in a way narratively. You know how Christopher Nolan arranges his films, like the narrative structure of his films, like Dunkirk and stuff. Things were done in a certain way to give things a narrative drive. These are different parts of Oppenheimer's life arranged in a way that everything kind of builds. There's peaks and valleys, but I think it's arranged in a way that juxtaposes his life, that starts one way in different parts of his life and then culminates in another. It's a very interesting narrative structure, but it is hard to summarize.
Yes, very hard to summarize, so I'm just going to leave it at that. It's literally about his life and the culminating moments. It is not about the use of the atomic bomb.
No.
It is not about the dropping of it. It's not about the victims of it. It's literally about the guy who created it.
Yes, so he's a complicated man, both in this movie and historically.
He's kind of a piece of shit.
He's an actual piece of shit. Yeah. So what was your first impression seeing Christopher Nolan's magnum opus, that some have said at least, Oppenheimer?
Okay, first impression, number one first impression was fucking everyone is in this movie.
Every single actor is in this movie. Think of an actor, they're in it.
Yes.
All of them.
But something that I know Chloe Owen pointed out to me, I don't know if she wants to point it out herself, but every male actor is in this movie.
Yes. Because this is a very male-centric film.
Yes, because it was a very male-centric story.
Yes.
But anyway, it was epic. It was like even the beginning, which some have said to me in their opinions, it kind of started a little slow for them. I did not feel that way personally. I thought I was engaged and enthralled from the entire get-go because I knew that this was a biopic.
Yes.
And from what I understand, it's very accurate.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the life and times of J. Robert Oppenheimer myself, so I didn't have a whole lot of historical context going into it. I had the notion one night, I like to look on Wikipedia when I'm laying in bed at night. Yeah. Big purveyor of that way to fall asleep. And I pulled up Oppenheimer's Wikipedia and I was like, no, I don't want to read anything. I want to experience the film. I want to experience what Christopher Nolan's giving to me, and then I can, in retrospect, look up context. Yes. Wikipedia is my TikTok. That's how you know I turned 58 this year. So it's going good for me. People really like me.
We don't. Chloe Wan and I each use TikTok to go to sleep, and by that I mean accidentally not go to sleep for 2 more hours.
It happens, dude. It happens. Me, I'm off to half an article in. Out, son. But for me, my first impression with this film was holy shit. It is a lot. There's a lot there. It's a 3-hour film, and there's a lot to digest. It's inspiring. It's upsetting. It's horrifying. It is. I literally have goosebumps just talking about it right now. It's there's a lot to this film, and it is very emotional. It holds a lot of emotional weight, more so than the typical biopic, I think, because it doesn't do it in a sappy way, or it doesn't do it in a way that feels, I don't know, you know, some biopics, like, tend to like use music or whatever, these moments or these dramatic acting things or these camera push-ins to like, almost emotionally manipulate you. This film does not do that.
Nope.
It is very tempered, I think, in its approach, and I think it lets the narratives and the things going on in the film speak for itself. So
Yes, I agree.
That's how I feel about it.
100%. And first of all, the visuals, fucking insane.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely insane. And the music, the score, absolutely insane. Like, it's just typical Christopher Nolan score.
But
Obviously,
this is not a Hans Zimmer score. Hans Zimmer has done a lot of Christmas. Like yes, this is a Ludwig Göransson score, who upped his game, because that is one of the things. Like Ludwig Göransson got his start. He did like the Black Panther film, the first one, and like those almost kind of like hip hop centric scores. And he has really proven himself as a composer, I think, with this film, because not only the music, the sound of this film blew my frickin' mind.
Yes.
It is a lot. It's almost very sensory overloady, and it's a lot. I'd say that is one of the major highlights for me of this film is the sound and the music.
Yes, I agree. The sound and the music were very just powerful, and yes, very well done, Iggy. But I think not only the visuals in terms of just the shots and the God, what's it called when you set it up? Blocking. None of that. I mean, obviously all of that, but that's not what really I mean. I mean the things that happen in the shot when Oppenheimer is feeling a certain way. Fucking blew my mind.
Oh, dude. Yes. Talk a little more about this, because the cinematography, like you can kind of see in the trailer, there's some stuff that's black and white. By the way, Christopher Nolan developed a black and white IMAX film stock. It didn't exist before this movie. Helped develop
crazy.
it so he could shoot it black and white. But these things aren't just stylistic choices for stylistic choices. It is very meaningful. There's intention behind all of this stuff.
So basically, there's things that are black and white and there's things that are in color. And from what I've deduced is that everything that's in color is from Oppenheimer's point of view, and everything that's black and white are things that happen in the public record that he wasn't there for.
Because it does feel like they're dramatic moments, but it does feel like newspaper articles in a way. Yes. There's some very intimate moments here but there's a lot of things that are public record that were taken through. Sorry, there's a lot of stuff.
Yes,
there's a lot of stuff in this movie.
So much in this movie, and the fact that like you see like nuclear particles or whatever the fuck throughout the movie is it's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, like literally, like Oppenheimer sparking ideas in his brain. We see the juxtaposition of like those sparkle. They're talking about the atoms and like busting an atom and getting the powers from that. And we see some of these like surreal shots where he's placed himself in certain things. Where we see these like surreal kind of shots of like atoms and like energy particles and the visual representation of that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much. There's so much to this movie. I'm like literally talking about it now. I thought I had a grasp on it, and now I was like, I need to see it again, freaking ASAP.
Absolutely.
It's so good. But I would like to go back to the acting and the cast, because Cillian Murphy has always been talented. He's been great in everything I've ever seen him in, and he really goes for it here.
Absolutely knocks it out of the park in this one.
Yeah, I think he better get some recognition come award season.
Yes.
But also Robert Downey Jr.
Oh my God, dude.
Unbelievable.
That might be the performance of his career, if I'm being honest with you.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you, man. He's unbelievable. I feel like I keep saying the same things. Unbelievable. Wow. Amazing. Incredible. But
here's my thought on RDJ is that he's great in everything.
Yes.
But it's almost like RDJ and everything aside from this movie, it's almost like it's that character as RDJ, or RDJ as that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
just a little bit. It's like, yeah, it's RDJ.
It's just him.
Not this.
Yeah. No.
Not this. This was very much like its own separate performance, and I don't know if it's like the makeup and the hair or if it helped or not, but holy shit, he was good in this.
No, I think you have a great point because he falls into this role in a way that. Okay, this isn't saying like anything bad. I think Robert Downey Jr. is fantastic, but he's Robert Downey Jr. in a lot of movies, and this like it feels like Christopher Nolan like really tapering these performances and like really pushing his actors to a place instead of. I think it's easy to say, "Hey, you're Robert Downey Jr. You're really great. Do whatever. You're good." But you can feel the strings being pulled in these performances, and sorry, that kind of sounds like I'm taking away from the performances, like they feel manufactured, but you can feel these actors being reined in a way that really pulls at the subtlety, because the narrative is so big. You don't have to have these giant explosive performances, even though we get them at times. You don't have to have that all the way through to sell how big the story is. The story just does it.
Yes. And I think that's the allure of Christopher Nolan, and he's such a great director. It actually reminds me of something that happened when our stream and our podcast was posted to Reddit that we found out, I guess. And somebody said that Christopher Nolan is not a great director, and he's no Stanley Kubrick, whatever. And I'm like, but he's fucking incredible. He's such a good director that, I don't know if you heard this, Matt Damon had told his wife, yeah, I'm going to take a break from acting, ellipses, unless Christopher Nolan calls.
For a fucking reason, because film bros want to be very like, Stanley Kubrick, blah, blah, blah. And of course, Stanley Kubrick is one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. But I think you're discounting the degree to which Christopher Nolan has had an impact on film and filmmaking and film culture. Because look at this shit. Look at his entire catalog of film.
Amazing,
and
dude.
This one is gonna float to the top, hands down, hands down. Because there's a ton of Kubrick films that are like, yeah, they're fine, but no one talks about so much anymore. And I don't think that many people really talk about Dunkirk anymore. I don't think that many people talk about Tenet. But people are going to talk about Oppenheimer for a very long time.
Well, okay, to be fair, Colby Wan did just say she liked Dunkirk better than Oppenheimer, so people are still talking about Dunkirk, and it's still very prevalent. And Tenet, maybe not so much. But, like, you can go down Christopher Nolan's catalog over the last however long since in my point of view, since Dark Knight. And it's like, I think it's a TikTok where it's like, you pop up Oppenheimer, banger. And then you pop up Inception, banger. Interstellar, banger. And it's like every single movie that he makes is like really good.
But you're also forgetting like Memento, which is beforehand. You're if you're talking post Dark Knight, sure, but still, like Memento, in and of itself, broke narrative structure on like big films. It was an indie film, but it did so freaking well that people are like, we should pay attention to this guy.
Yes, and they did, and fucking thank God, because he is crushing it.
Yes, and he seems like a pretty good guy, and from all accounts, a pretty good human. Because Stanley Kubrick, notorious piece of shit.
Notorious piece of shit. And Christopher Nolan is actually, from what I've heard, and to this point, don't fucking bite me in the ass, internet, in the future.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Christopher Nolan is such a decent person that he knows his flaws, and his flaw. That being said, he only has a flip phone. He will not have a smartphone. He doesn't want a phone that can access the internet because he'll just fucking get sucked into it. So he refuses to let himself get there, and he literally only has a flip phone for like emergencies and shit.
That's smart, actually. That's very smart. I've heard that's a trend as well among some like younger kids these days. Like, oh, I don't want to get sucked into all this stuff. I'm gonna get a flip phone. I'm like,
amazing,
cool, great, good for you. Good
amazing.
to know.
Right.
But hopping into some other things, there is, and this is not a spoiler. So to be clear, there are a couple like sex scenes, and there's not really sex scenes in Christopher Nolan films, and so it was like. It's interesting to see. I think it makes sense. It wasn't egregious. It wasn't long or anything like that. But I was like, oh, that's something new.
Yeah, GZ. Here's my opinion on that. Okay.
Yes.
This movie walks a very tight rope because this movie is not about the dropping of the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In fact, they don't even really talk about Nagasaki's bombing in it.
It's just mentioned briefly.
It's just mentioned briefly. This movie is about the father of the bomb, the guy who essentially created it, obviously with his whole team or whatever. But without him, who knows when or where or what would have happened for this bomb to be made. But regardless, he is the father, and this was about him from his point of view. And the movie can be good while also acknowledging that who the movie is about is still a piece of shit. And what he did and how he felt were terrible.
Yeah, because I don't think this movie shies away from letting us know that J. Robert Oppenheimer was a fucking dickhead. He was an awful, they call him a womanizer in the film. Like, he's not a good guy. He's an egomaniac. It's absolutely true. And actually, I'm glad you bring up Wolf of Wall Street, because I had a very similar conversation about this too, about Wolf of Wall Street and how crazy that movie is and how much I love Wolf of Wall Street. Jordan Belfort is a fucking dickhead.
He's a piece of shit.
Objectively bad human. Objectively bad guy. I think that is the point. I wouldn't watch Wolf of Wall Street. I didn't come out of that movie saying, wow, that Jordan guy, cool buddy, cool guy. Because I think it does put in perspective. It leaves it in the viewer's mind to be like, oh yeah, this is a bad dude. I don't think it has to go out of its way to tell us that these are bad people and to remind us of victims, because there's a lot of things, again, I don't want to spoil anything in Oppenheimer, but there's plenty of moments in that don't portray victims, but they push you to think about the victims, and they push you to think about the collateral damage to all the events of this movie, because it is very focused on his perspective. But I think it does challenge you to think of all that collateral damage. Because again, I didn't come out of this movie thinking, wow, that J. Robert Oppenheimer, cool guy, cool guy. But I think that's an interesting discussion that should be had, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I agree. It's just I personally feel that you can think a movie is good, while still thinking the events of the movie were not.
Yeah, and you know what I mean? There is an interesting point too, like in our world, Dave. Like with our podcast, we talk about genre movies and stuff, and we go back and forth. We don't do war. We've never done war movies, and I'm very hesitant to do so because I wouldn't feel good making jokes about very real situations and very real people, because we can joke about, stupid ass Nicolas Cage getting his face ripped off and swapping it with John Travolta, because these are actors and these are characters in a very fictionalized world. I don't feel good talking about or making jokes about war films or films about like atrocities, real world atrocities or whatever. And I don't think this makes light of that. I think this definitely pushes you to think and feel for yourself on them.
Yeah, so. And like it goes right up to the edge of talking about the actual travesty, without actually talking about it. And I think that's the right move, because you don't win when you talk about what happens. Right. When those two bombs are dropped, you don't, because somebody's going to be upset. In fact, people are upset about this movie. Yeah. And I was sent, Chloe once sent me a TikTok about somebody saying like, it's, how dare they not have any Asian representation in this movie? And if the movie was about the bombings, absolutely, I agree. Yeah. But to me, if you kind of miss the point if you think that, oh, why didn't we have Asian people in this movie? Because they're the ones that got affected. Because it's from Robert Oppenheimer's point of view. He'd never met any Asian people. He wasn't there for the bombing. In fact, it's kind of a spoiler. I'm not going to say it, but he just didn't think about it. He wasn't there. He really focused on his life and where he was at. So I think to put in representation of Asian people would have been disingenuous to the story, because that's not the story we were being told.
I agree with you, because I think that deserves its own story. I think that deserves its own film.
100%. I agree with you.
I mean, that's not to get too heavy, but that plays into like the U.S. internment camps that we had for Asian people here in America. Like that's fucked. That's an entire can of worms, and I think that is dismissive to be like, oh yeah, and also let me show you for like 10 minutes that this stuff happened. It feels that also would feel pretty shitty, because I want that story. Yeah, they're far, and that's a great point too, Icky. They're far more than just victims. They're people. So
they are there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is a tough entanglement, though. That is something we should wrestle with, and I think these conversations are very productive to have, because there's a lot going on here. And it's the same with even some of the women in Oppenheimer's life.
Yes,
they're in this movie. He's drawn to troubled people. Again, I don't want to spoil too much or anything like that. And I think it is interesting how they're woven into this story. I guess I'll leave it at that without going too deep.
I will push it a little further.
Okay.
That some of these, there's not that many women in this story, because again, this was 1930s, 1940s America, which is very sexist and segregated, and that's how it was. It sucks, but that's it.
Right. Right. Those are the people in this story. Yeah.
Well, Blake, I'll let you take that one.
Sorry, I'm reading it fully. More social to be taken as well as the two feminists. I see what you're saying about it, but being from Robert, kind of like what you said, Dave, being from Oppenheimer's point of view, those things aren't in his head. And he's not thinking about those people. He's a noted egomaniac. And they go into plenty of detail about how shitty of a person and how like singularly focused he was as a human. He doesn't see any of this as being a problem. And I don't know. I think the film trusts its audience to understand. I think that the film trusts its audience to see that, like, this is singularly focused. We all know the historical context of this. We all know that women were treated terrible, and they make a little mentions of these things as well. But I think it trusts us as an audience to be like, yo, this is messed up. This is, like, really fucked up. And I came out of this understanding and feeling like, yeah, lots of people are left out of this because that's just how it is. And again, not an excuse, but I don't think this film shoved these things under the rug. I think it just trusted its audience to understand.
See, but here's my take on that.
Yeah.
First of all, I agree with everything you said. Second of all, with more representation of Japanese and Native American people, that's a different story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in my opinion, that's a different story than the one that Oppenheimer, the movie, is telling. Yeah. To dive into even just a little bit of the Native American people that were taken advantage of in this situation, the Japanese people who were affected, the two female leads in the movie who were the main, female energy in Oppenheimer's life, to explore those people in any way is a tangent. Because that's not the story. The story is how the nuclear bomb was made and how the egomaniac dickhead got us there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it dives into his regrets and stuff.
Yes. It doesn't really dive into anyone but him and the guy who tried to take him down. Robert Downey Jr. character, RDJ's character.
Right.
We don't learn anything about anyone but those two.
Yeah.
So
the only thing we learn about any other people are how they are involved or related in this story to Oppenheimer. It would be different if we dove into all these characters or had these tangents about other characters and then left out these people, but we don't have that. It's all Oppenheimer focused. So, and at the same time, getting into another thing that I liked about this film was the length. It's a 3-hour, like on the dot movie. Did not feel 3 hours.
Did not feel 3 hours.
It really didn't, and I think that's the sign of a well-paced film.
Yes.
But that, again, playing into that, I think this film would have been really, really dragging if we had gone on, if we'd gone on any longer. I think it came in and it did its thing and got out just when it needed to.
Yes, it felt shorter than it did. Oh, Jesus, it's a long comment.
Yeah, hold on. Let me pause to read this.
Yes, I'll wait till Blake's done to comment. But
yeah, you can go ahead and comment.
Yes, that's the thing. That's another thing that we could have dove into, but that's not what the story's about. Yeah. We can have a whole separate movie where it's about the dropping of the nuclear bombs, where Oppenheimer's at the beginning of it.
Sure.
And then we see the bomb, or we meet the Native Americans that were affected in Los Alamos. We meet the Japanese people who were affected in America and in Japan by this. We see how the president didn't give a shit about the natives or the Japanese people. We can see all that stuff in a different movie. Yeah, in my opinion.
And I'm actually really glad that they put that in this film, because that would be easy to omit. But I think having those things, like showing that the president doesn't give a shit about natives, the president doesn't give a shit about the people in internment camps, he doesn't give a shit about the Japanese people who had nothing to do with this war, who got caught up in this bomb. I think those little things are perfect enough to be like, note it, and it puts that, it's like, oh, and that had me, those specific moments put into my brain as an audience, like, yeah, this whole situation is so fucked. I didn't see Oppenheimer as a hero there trying to, when he said, like, give it back to the natives, I'm not like, wow, what a good guy. I'm like, he's coming up with just the most basic ass thoughts of any rational human, and put into people like who feel, and put into normal Americans who are watching this thing, we're all like, oh, dude, this is a messed up situation. And this is where I think the film does trust its audience, which I really appreciated. It doesn't have to shove into your face, hey, think about this.
right, exactly. But in terms of the back to the pacing, I really think that it was paced perfectly. Some of the and Icky pointed this out when we went and saw it. Some of the earlier stuff takes longer to get through, and then some of the later stuff is shorter to get through. And he said, think about your memories and things that are, prevalent in your mind when you think back on your life. Yeah. The ones that last longer, the ones that you dwell on more, are the earlier ones.
Yeah, that's true. Time is, in the span of the human life, is logarithmic in a way. When you're 8 years old, 4 years was half of your life ago. Was 50% of your life. Yes. But 4 years when you're 30 is a fraction of that. Like thinking, again, I just had a birthday, and like thinking about like I've been in Los Angeles for like 11 years, and it feels like, but because it was only, it's only a third of my life, whereas, the rest of it's all interesting. But yeah, it is. The way this whole thing is paced out, like I kind of mentioned, the writing and the way it's constructed narratively is so interesting, because it takes those segments of his life and juxtaposes them together at the start, and then those things that ramped up in different parts of his life all happen towards the end of the film. And I think that keeps us paced well, but also I think there's a lot of thematical relevance and stuff where there's a lot of overlap in his life. Very peaks and valleys, very shitty all the way through. But I think we can kind of get the overlap in these different eras of his life where they line up.
Yes, 100%. I agree. So I think we could talk about this movie all night long, but I think we have to switch.
We could talk about this forever. Do you have any dislikes though before we move on?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I mean, I know an argument can be made. Yeah. For the how Christopher Nolan portrayed the women in his life. Yeah. that he didn't talk about how this affected the natives from Los Alamos, how he didn't talk about the Japanese. The argument can be made for all of that.
Yeah, for sure.
And my only thought of that is that's not what the movie is about.
Yeah. I think
I would agree with you.
I think they're valid points. I do. I think they're absolutely valid points, and I think it's worth discussion. And I'm glad we talked about this. Actually, this is a bit more of a serious conversation than we typically have here on the show. But I'm glad we talked about it, and I think those are valid. But yeah, I don't have any particular dislikes. I really want to see it again. So it's a big recommend for me. See it on the biggest format you can.
Yes.
If you can see it in film, see it on film, but definitely see it in the biggest theater you can find.
I will say it's 100% a recommend from me with like a tiny caveat. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you are going to see both these movies, if you are barbenheimering it up, see this one first. See this one before you see Barbie. And I know that sounds kind of productive, but we'll get into why, because I believe that anyone who has seen Barbie first and then goes into Oppenheimer could have a skewed view on it because of how Barbie makes you feel.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting point. That's a good point. I like I said earlier, I wanted to see Oppenheimer last. The way it worked out, I had to see it first. I'm glad I saw it first.
Yes,
because goddamn, as well. Like this, like I said, it's a big recommend for me, and it is wild. I say see it on the biggest screen you can. This is a talky film. This isn't like a crazy action-packed film, but it still deserves to be seen in the biggest format possible.
Yes, 100%.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I think RDJ's performance deserves Oscar nominations.
I agree 100%.
It's one of my favorite performances of his. I think Dave said that as well.
I think if he doesn't get Best Supporting Actor, I'm going to riot because he fucking crushed it.
He absolutely... You can tell when actors really push themselves, and I felt like he absolutely pushed himself in this. And Cillian Murphy as well. Really pushed himself. So much great acting. Oh my gosh. Even like Emily Blunt was fantastic. Florence Pugh was fantastic. Even Benny Safdie. I didn't even mention this. Benny Safdie's in this movie, who is a director. Him and his brother, directed Good Times and Uncut Gems.
Yes.
And it's great to see him in this. Man, everybody was great. I'm going to talk about this movie forever, but we got to move on. It's two recommends for us, and we're moving on to Barbie from 2023. A very different yet equally fantastic film, and I too have a trailer for Barbie, which I think I've only seen part of one trailer, so I'm going to pull this up here.
Yeah, I've seen one trailer. Yes, Clubby One. We're about to party with Barbie.
Oh God, such a good party.
Take down the patriarchy.
Right, absolutely. Pardon the doubling on Dave for this, but
I'll just be quiet.
Okay, perfect. No, don't be quiet. All right, here's the trailer for Barbie 2023. I also like the closed captions. Soft, playful music.
Can I come to your house tonight?
Sure. I don't have anything big planned, just a giant blowout party with all the Barbies and planned choreography and a bespoke song. You should stop by.
So cool.
You can put me under the lights, diamonds under my eyes.
This is the best day ever.
It is the best day ever. So is yesterday, and so is tomorrow, and every day from now until forever. Do you guys ever think about dying?
When my heart breaks,
Some things have been happening that might be related.
when my world shakes.
Cold shower, falling off my roof, and my heels are on the ground. What do I have to do?
You have to go to the real world. You can go back to your regular life, or you can know the truth about the universe. The choice is now yours.
The first one, the high heel.
You have to watch it now, okay? Do it again.
Closer I am to find. Closer I am to find.
I'm coming with you.
Okay.
This is the real world. What's going on? Why are these men looking at me?
Yeah, they're also staring at me.
Oh yes, I did see that. Chloe one.
Oh, that's cool.
Transition scenes, right?
This could be an extremely
practical.
weird things for our world.
This would be catastrophic!
We haven't played with Barbie since we were like 5 years old. Oh.
No one rests until this doll is back in a box.
I really want to see this movie again too.
Humans only have one ending.
Get that Barbie!
Ideas live forever.
It's just
No,
joyous.
I won't let you do just one appendectomy,
But I'm a man.
but not a doctor.
Can I talk to a doctor?
You are talking to a doctor.
I need a clicky pen?
No.
A sharp thing?
No.
There he is. Doctor!
Somebody get security.
It's Barbie, bitch, if you still in doubt.
So Dave, once I switch you back to not being echoey.
Yeah.
Okay, you should be back to not
Good.
echoey.
Not echoey. We're good.
All right, tell us the story of Barbie 2023.
Yes. So basically, Barbie is in Barbie Land, which is the make-believe world where Barbies live. When children play with their Barbies, and this is what they imagine them doing. Right.
It's pretty self-explanatory.
Pretty self-explanatory. But our Barbie, played by Margot Robbie,
Yes.
she starts to have feelings of. I call them the millennial nature of, you ever think about death? You know what I mean? Like, she kind of wants to die a little bit.
I relate to this.
Now, same. And now she has to go to the real world and figure out, like, how to fix it. But also, what is happening here? Because it's run by men, and they're making women feel like second-class citizens, and that's not how Barbie Land is.
Yeah, she's realizing that Barbie Land isn't much like the real world.
No. No.
Nope.
I kind of
Coming
wish
to
it was.
terms with that, I do too. Also, I wanted to point out that I thought you called her Margot Barbie instead of Margot Robbie.
That's hilarious.
And now I'm going to call her Margot Barbie forever.
Yes.
She's just that
I'm
now.
on with it. I'm on board. I'm on board. I'm on board.
I'm on board. I'm on Barbie. So what was your first impression of this film? You just saw this just mere hours ago.
Yes. It let out about 2.5 hours ago. 3 hours ago. It was incredible. Like, so fucking good. It was funny. It was emotional. Like, I almost cried like 3 times.
Yeah.
Just in like the messaging, but also like just I don't want to get too much into it. It's kind of too spoilery, but it just like it was emotional. It was great. It was fun. It was funny.
Yes.
And it really spoke to things that we kind of tried to avoid talking about in our everyday lives. And that is, and it's I don't know if it says in the trailer, but basically the patriarchy.
Yeah.
And how women are, it's an uphill battle, and it's the impossible double standards and contradictory standards at that. I mean, there's one monologue in it that, like, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yes. This film for me, dude, it feels weird saying that after those points you just made. This film was so much fun. It takes the horrible, crippling depression of reality and makes it fun, but without shying away from those very real elements. I don't know how it does it. This it leads into one of my very first and biggest likes about this movie, the tonal tightrope of this film. It can be when pressed with the reality of what we're talking about, sounds horribly depressing. This film is a blast.
It's a blast. It's so much fun.
Blast. I love this movie. It was just I have to ask you too. My theater experience was very fun. I saw it later in the evening, but I showed up. Everybody was dressed in pink. This was an event movie. through and through. Whereas Oppenheimer was an event movie for people who like cinema. This was an event movie for everybody else who really enjoys wearing pink. Everybody was dressed in pink. There's a group of guys who saw it as well, who were in front of me. They were all dressed up in suits and stuff. And then there's it was just fun. The atmosphere seeing this film was fun. Even people watching the trailers were losing their fucking minds, laughing at the trailers and stuff. It was just an all-around real fun experience just seeing the film in and of itself.
Yes, mine was nothing like that.
Yeah.
It was packed. Nobody was in pink. There was a lot of like families or moms and daughters. But I would say the best part of my viewing experience was there was this one. It was either a couple and these two ladies and their daughters, or it was two friends. It was basically two like women and then two daughters. Yeah. And one of those women was cackling so hard at all of the like really funny parts and all the parts where they were really poking fun at the patriarchy and poking fun at men and things that they do and say. Yeah. Like there's one line that was I don't know if it's spoiler or not, but it was to poke fun at how men think, and it was about the Snyder cut. And she laughed so fucking hard at that the whole theater busted out laughing.
Dude,
love that lady.
This film started out getting into likes. I know we speak generally, but oh yes. Oh my gosh. I was shitting my pants laughing at that part. There's
that part was so fucking funny.
For context, it does poke fun at dudes with acoustic guitars playing at women. It's
bro.
Oh man, it's so funny. It's so funny, dude. It's so good. But this is also in one of the trailers, so this is not a spoiler. But the opening scene is a almost shot-for-shot parody of 2001: A Space Odyssey. I was just floored. Absolutely on board.
My pants at that.
So, like, literally, there's a lot of references and stuff. So even if you're like a film bro, you're gonna get enjoyment out of this too. If you're somebody who has a soul and a heart, you're gonna enjoy this film.
Yes,
like,
and
if you're
something I want to say. I know what you meant, and I know you didn't mean anything negative by it, but you said Oppenheimer is an experience for people who love cinema. This is cinema also.
Okay, yes. So I don't want to draw the delineation of like people who love cinema can't like this or opposite, because this film is cinema. Like it straight up is. I mean, obviously Greta Gerwig is one of my favorite directors working today.
She's fantastic.
She's so good. Lady Bird is one of my favorite films. I would say probably in my top 20. But also, we talked about a handful of weeks ago a movie called White Noise that was directed and written by Noah Baumbach, who, in starring Greta Gerwig, is her husband, and he also co-wrote this film. And I see a lot of...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I saw a lot of overlap of the style of humor in like White Noise to this. I think it's a perfect little precursor, because it's very... I don't know, maybe I'm tripping. I said this to somebody and they're like, dude, you're fucking whack. What are you talking about? I feel like this is a bit of some subversive comedy, like some weirder comedy that isn't in traditional comedy films, traditional like mainstream comedy films. I think there's some pretty niche comedy in this that I really, really enjoyed.
Yes.
I don't know if I could be tripping.
No, I agree with you. There was some very niche comedy in there, and some very like amazing just twists, like comedy twists, like you're supposed to do without needing the rule of three, you know? Yes, Chloe one, absolutely obvious and subversive.
For sure.
I think my favorite joke, and I won't give anything away, I'll just say without saying, is that random voiceover.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That was so good.
It's... Again, if you haven't seen this, go see it. Not to bury the lead on this, but go see the movie. It is fun. Movie. It is so much fun, unless you're fucking Ben Shapiro.
That dude went and took notes, bro.
Oh my god, that's so funny. It's my favorite reaction. My favorite reaction.
Yes. I'm just saying the guy who famously told the internet that he can't get his wife turned on is not the guy you should listen to about a movie that pokes fun at the patriarchy. I'm just saying.
It's the reaction I was really hoping for. So I do want to get into some more specific likes here.
Yes.
I think the acting is fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Margot Barbie is fantastic. She's so good because she plays stereotypical Barbie, like the very like first kind of version of Barbie. We get to see all the different iterations of Barbie and stuff. She plays a stereotypical one, and she plays her like a Barbie doll, but also plays her heartbreakingly.
Oh
she
my God,
brings
dude.
so much to this role that it kind of blew my mind. I didn't know how deep she was gonna go with it necessarily, but she was heartbreaking with this.
Absolutely. And like she gets emotional in this movie, and just like yes, absolutely, because like I don't know how to explain without spoiling too much, but like the emotion she brought to her performance literally like almost brought me to tears a couple of times.
Absolutely. Because she does it in a way that like you see her as Barbie like discover things about like the real world or herself or whatever that like she wasn't anticipating or she's never had to think about.
Yes.
And it's just like that seeing that realization in real time come over her face is just like, ooh, I've been there. Oof, I've been there. And it's it's tough, man. It is a very millennial experience, you know? So there's a lot of interesting things to digest with that. But I also think Ryan Gosling crushed it.
Dude,
as well.
Ryan Gosling is another RDJ type actor where every performance is just Ryan Gosling.
It's Ryan Gosling
playing
with an accent. Ryan Gosling with a hat.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was him actually acting.
Yes. I fully agree with that
really
sentiment.
tried so hard, and it showed. I think he did a phenomenal job. In fact, I think that Ryan Gosling and RDJ should get nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
I fully agree. I fully agree because, like we said in the beginning of these movie segments, these films are two very different kinds of films, two different genres and different tones and stuff. They are equally as fantastic and memorable and weighted. These are two fantastic films. I have to say too, on top of the acting, I have talked a lot of shit on this show in general, but specifically about my dislike for Will Ferrell as I have gotten older, because it's Will Ferrell as Will Ferrell playing Will Ferrell and
doing Will Ferrell things.
He's perfect for this movie.
Yes,
this is the perfect film for Will Ferrell to be Will Ferrell in, because it is. In a lot of other Will Ferrell movies, they're trying to force that like goofball comedy, you know, trait of his into this. Yeah. This is the exact tone for him.
Amazing. Perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Found my cat.
But also, what do you think about America Ferrera's performance?
She was so good because she brought that like, you know, I'm smiley mom who has that dark, like just fighting off the darkness, you know, to show up for her kids, to show up for her family, to show up for her job, and that like crippling defeat of like the reality of life. She's like, can't let that seep in. It comes out through her art. It comes out through all these things that we get to explore. And I think she nailed it. She nailed this performance because she was like, having to be like chipper about all these things when everything is just falling the fuck apart. And it was quite a feat. Yes.
What else has the girl who played her daughter been in? Because she was immediately familiar to me. I immediately recognized her, and I can't remember why.
I do not know. I will find out.
No,
very
you keep
quickly.
talking. I'm going to look up because you are better at talking than I am.
But on top of the acting and the performance, like Issa Rae was also fantastic as President Barbie. She had me rolling, dude. I think Kate McKinnon can wear thin for me sometimes, but I think she was also like her wacky kind of style of comedy was perfect for her performance in this. Perfect for her character because she plays weird Barbie.
Yes,
which is
amazing. She was so fucking hilarious.
She was so
God
good.
damn it.
Oh, she was in 65.
Yes, thank you, Chloe.
We just talked about this.
I thought it was 65. I was like, no way.
That's actually hilarious.
Way.
Very funny. Which this is all intertangled because 65 stars Adam Driver, who was in White Noise, which was directed by Noah Baumbach, starring Greta Gerwig, who's the director of Barbie, co-written by Noah Baumbach. It's all intermingled. But yeah, I also want to talk about the production design of this film. It is immaculate. We are in
fantastic.
We are in Barbie world or Barbie land, and it is perfect. It is they use so much pink paint that there's a world supply shortage.
Yes,
of pink paint for this, and everything is just immaculately designed.
I would say that it's so well designed that when we do go to the real world, it like had the emotional feeling of opening a door in a dark room into the sunlight and be like, what the hell?
It does, because when we show up in Venice, by the way, I got texted to hell and back when they were shooting this scene. Blake, Barbie's up the street. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling are up the street. And they're like sending me pictures and stuff of them in their like get-ups. And like, it's funny because when we do hit the real world, it's like, everything sucks here. And they don't have to do anything. They don't have to redress the real world to be shittier than it is. They just juxtapose, Barbie world with the real world, and we understand. It sucks.
It's horrible.
It's brutal.
It's immediately horrifying.
Yes, no, for sure. But the production design is it's fantastic. There's so many things going on. There's so many little notes that they hit. I also really like when they introduce Barbie. We get to see her wake up in her world, and there's the Lizzo song playing, which is also commenting on what's going on in the actual scene, which made me laugh tremendously.
That's so fucking funny. I think
good.
The part that got me the most is like when the narrator starts talking again, and she goes, "I was still singing." Oh, so fucking good.
It's very clever. But also like in Barbie world, they don't like drink or eat anything. So she's like,
and nothing happens.
And nothing happens.
It's literally because it's empty. I just like,
yeah. It's so fun and clever. And to that end, not to backtrack too much, but I also want to point out the performance of Michael Cera in this.
Oh, so good.
As
I
Alan.
didn't know he was in this, and he's so fucking funny in this. God damn it.
All of Ken's clothes fit him.
Fuck.
He's so good. I kind of really related to Alan. I'm kind of an Alan a little bit.
I'm just saying, in the movie made about Blake, Michael Cera is going to be cast.
I literally, since Superbad came out, I have not been able to escape that juxtaposition myself.
I'm just saying.
I still don't really know how I feel about it, but I'm fine with it. Michael Cera's a good dude.
Yeah.
And Alan as a character is really funny and hilarious. And
funny.
Yeah, the comparisons have been coming in. Yeah, I'm Ken's buddy.
His clothes fit me.
It's so good. That's all we really know about Alan. So, but I wanted to point that out. We talked a little bit too about the music. I think the music is fantastic because it's very bubblegum, but it's very fun, but also self-aware bubblegum. This is very self-aware plastic movie, and it does itself quite the service leaning into it.
It's a commentary on it.
Yeah.
It's not just like and that's why when I first heard that there was a Barbie movie, I was like, I'm not gonna go see that. Like, not there's anything wrong with it, but like it's a movie I didn't play with Barbies. I don't. It's like the Beanie Baby movie. Like, I had some Beanie Babies, but I wasn't obsessed with them. So I was like, I don't care.
Right.
But then, Chloe showed me a trailer, and the first trailer immediately, I was like, I'm gonna go see this movie.
Dude, it's interesting. It's fun. It's funny because we are very different. We both love movies, but we are interested in film in two different kind of ways. For me, I saw that Greta Gerwig was directing a Barbie movie. I'm like, I gotta go see that. And you're like, okay. And I'm like, because I'll go see movies by creators even if I'm not specifically interested in the topic or the subject. I'm like, well, I trust this creator to bring me something interesting or something at least thoughtful. And Greta Gerwig is one of my favorite directors working. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go see it, of course. A Barbie movie by Greta Gerwig? Sure. And then, I saw one trailer and I was like, this is going to be fun. This is going to be great.
I was sold after one trailer. So it took zero convincing on my part. Because like I said, I was like, meh. And then one trailer in, I was like, I'm in. I'm sold.
Yeah.
I want to go see this movie.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you mentioned, like, you will go see a movie by a creator that you like, even if you don't know what the movie is or don't care or whatever.
Yeah.
I started being that way, but with actors.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's fair.
Like, the first actor that I started doing that with, and this was in the last 5 years, was Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. It's a very fair point, because Robert Pattinson, like, if you trust somebody as a creator, you also kind of trust their decisions. And like, if this is a film good enough for Robert Pattinson to be interested in, then it's good enough for me to be interested in. I think that's fair. Yeah.
And sometimes you're led astray. I'm looking at you. I forget his name already. From How It Ends. This is How It Ends. Who's the dad in This Is How It Ends?
Forrest Whitaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at you, Forrest Whitaker, making some bad decisions.
Icky. Wicker Man is comedy gold. The Nicolas Cage Wicker Man, comedy gold. So I love it.
We should definitely talk about that sometime.
We definitely should. But yes, this is one of those films that is just like, I think it's accessible as well. Oppenheimer is a little less accessible, because no one played with Robert Oppenheimer dolls as a child. Look at me, Mom! I built the atomic bomb. That's great, honey. Nobody's doing that. Whereas Barbie has this cultural influence, but also has plenty of criticisms to Barbie, and how I remember these criticisms every time there's a new Barbie. That came out when I was a kid. Somebody was fucking complaining about it, and so I think it is interesting to take that and flip it on its head and be introspective about what Barbie means and what Barbie has done or has not done for the world and for society. And this film tackles a lot while also being one of the funniest films I've seen this year, for sure.
Yes, it's so funny, and I'm just blown away by Greta Gerwig and her husband for the way they wrote this movie, because it's the very politically charged content that they're talking about, the message that they have. That is, it shouldn't be, but it is very divisive. They're able to put all of that shit in there and still be like a super fucking entertaining movie.
Yes, I fully agree, because my initial thing too was like, even just saying like a politically charged, I'm like, but are like women's rights political? Like, is this really? I mean, it shouldn't be, but it is. Like, that's the reality.
Yes, it absolutely should not be, but it 1,000% is.
But it's funny that you say it, because even knowing this and knowing the underlying things, it doesn't stray away from it. It doesn't try to like hide its themes or like be subversive about it. It's like, this is it. And I still didn't leave being like, wow, that was a message movie, or that was a film like that was very charged, politically or whatever. Like, I left smiling, absolutely smiling. And not that I disagree with the message or anything like that, but I think you are 100% right, and that it is a narrative feat to leave people smiling when being so specifically about something.
Well, and it's so funny that you say that, because I did not leave this movie smiling. I left this movie having enjoyed it, having a good time. I left this movie upset and asking, how can I help?
Yeah.
Because
that's fair. That's a fair reaction. It's a great reaction.
Literally, and I guess like there was one time that in the movie something was said, and I don't want to get too into it because it's kind of spoilery. Something is said by Margot Robbie's character that's almost verbatim something I've heard Obi-Wan say, and I got emotional. Mm-hmm. Because no one should have to feel that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'm like, okay, how can I help? Somebody tell me how to help.
Yep. That's fair. I think that's a great reaction because it's one of those things where it's like, hey, like this is it's brought to you in such a way that isn't like, hey, you're a piece of shit and you should be doing this. Yes. Fuck you for the, it's very like, hey, like we can all do this together. Like right. you can be the CEO of a fucking major toy company and like realize like, hey, we can all do better. We can all like, even if it's just the small amount of like, hey, I understand. Like, even if it's not like picking up a club and going like marching in the streets, like, hey, just having a little bit of understanding, a little bit of empathy for somebody else or somebody else's situation, that can make it easier for that person or make it easier for society in general. Making things and helping people will make it better for everybody. And I think this film brought a lot of that ideology to the forefront, and not a way that is like, dismissive or like preachy in a way, but it's like, hey, we all suck in certain ways, so think about it and just like do better. And so right. I left with a smile on my face because I felt like it was so affecting and so fun, and I got so much out of it, and I felt reassured in the world that like maybe this will help. And like I talked to my nephew earlier today. He's like, Uncle Blake, we went and saw Barbie. I was like, oh, did you like it? He goes, it was so funny. And he was like, tell me his favorite jokes. And like, he loved all these parts. And I was like, man, that's cool. That's cool because for little boys, it's for little boys to go see a Barbie movie and have fun and not be, this is for girls. That's fantastic, and just knowing that like, hey, maybe he'll think of these things. Like, when he gets a little older, when his sister is having issues or something like that, it's like, hey, I understand a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think that's incredible.
Like it makes me want to reach out to my nephew and tell him to go see it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely, because there's a lot to be learned, but it's also not like, hey, sit down, let me show you the Stranger Danger documentary or something. Right. it's still a fun film.
It's a fun film, and I think that it gets the message across in such a way that makes it can make people who watch it be like, man, that was fun, and then yeah, but fuck that, at the same time.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure, it brings to light a lot of problems. I can see how it would be a catalyst, in certain people for change, and that's important, man. It's very important. This film is just pulling off all sorts of gymnastics, man, and
amazing.
It's quite the feat. The more and more I think about this movie, the more impressed I really, really am on every level of the filmmaking process here.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's phenomenal.
Yep. Do you have any dislikes?
No. Mm-hmm. Not even one. Not even one. I think this movie front to back was amazing. It was hilarious. Perfect length, perfect pacing, perfect tone. Yeah. The jokes while being, while walking that tightrope of being funny and, also commenting on things. It had a very millennial humor in it.
For sure.
Whereas, like, we're laughing at things that make us uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it's also really funny. It was, the acting was great. The set design, everything was perfect.
Yep. I've heard some dislikes about this. I didn't have any initially off the top of my head, but I've heard some interesting conversations on the bigger level that I think are also fair points, but I don't really want to get into them because they're spoilery in terms of how things play out. But interesting points I would like to bring up to you after this stream, since I don't want to. But I have no dislikes. I think everybody should go see this movie. If you're Ben Shapiro, you should see this movie. Maybe you'll learn something. You probably won't. But if you like Ben Shapiro, you should also go see this movie.
Definitely go see this movie.
You should fucking see this movie.
And learn.
even if not, maybe just be confronted with uncomfortable ideas, and you never know. Yes, we will inform. We will surely inform you. We'll conference you in. But it was a fun point. But yes, I love this movie. This is a big recommend. I think these two films are two of my favorite films this year so far. And
for sure.
I can't wait to see both. I will be seeing both again in theaters. So
Same. I absolutely will.
Get out and see them. But short of that, two recommends. It's a big thumbs up all the way down. This is a very positive stream, and
very positive.
We're not used to that here at First Press Films. But
in fact, they're coming for me right now about it.
That son of a bitch. Dave said something nice.
Get him.
But short of that, what else we got going on, Dave?
So we talked about it earlier, but we had a episode of our podcast proper drop today.
Yes.
For your birthday, which was a couple weeks ago. It's Nick Cage action movies.
Yes, we talked about Face Off from 1997 versus The Rock from 1996. It's a fun time. It's a fun show. So if you like that, you can check us out on all the podcast platforms, and you can watch us in a somewhat similar format to this on YouTube. You can check out the entire episode there. You can see us. You can see the clips of the thing and the stuff. It's fun.
We can neither confirm nor deny.
I have plenty of thoughts on Face Off. Yes. So you should go check it out. But also, we are intermittently on here. Dave's schedule is a little wonky with his new job out here in Los Angeles, so we're streaming as much as we can. We're trying to do every week like we did before, but who knows? You can check us out on our socials, though, to see when we are.
Yes, we will be saying it at some point.
Yes.
Like on our socials, we'll be telling you when we're going to be streaming. It will be kind of a rotating schedule. I don't believe we're going to be back next week. But like Blake said, we're going to be trying as much as we can. And
for as long as it makes sense. But you can check us out on our socials, that is, for clips and whatever, at First Prize Pod, on all the things and all the stuff. I mentioned, what is it, Blue Sky and Threads. We're not on those yet, but maybe we will be.
We will be soon. Also, you can check out our website. It's First Prize Films. It's over here in my head somewhere. There it is. It's over here. Check that out. That's how you get an easy way to get to our podcast proper if you don't know what platform to choose.
Yep.
And it's fun. So
yes. Thank you guys for showing up. We love and appreciate all you guys. We miss you too. Give us a follow here on Twitch if you'd like. It's for free. And if you have an Amazon account, you can also sub to us for free.
Exactly.
All that stuff is much appreciated, but mostly just telling your friends and coming by and having a chat with us. We love to see you in here. So a big shout out to, Icky, Kolobi1, GZ. We had pizzas in here for a little bit. Hawk Rules, all the peeps. Love to see you guys. And we'll catch you next time.
Yeah. Love ya.
Bye.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
Oh, Steve is out.